Okay, but I do believe that being in person live, doing it in real time is very powerful.
I do too. Okay. Hi, everybody. We're back. Obviously, we're together. Today's moving day, and I got to escape the packing and the moving. I also have a very generous husband who's like, don't lift a finger. I've got this. So I was like, I'm out of here over to Kayla's house. Kayla made me breakfast,
I did.
multiple coffees. It's been a great morning. And then when I leave, I get to go to my new house and unpack. And I'm so excited. And I have a dog sitter for the day because my dogs get hyper anxious when we're moving all around. My one dog who's 13 will, the minute she sees my suitcase, freak out and she's trying to sleep in the suitcase and gets really anxious. So I thought, let's let them go have a good day with the dog sitter, and I'll pick them up later. Yes, a little stressed. She gets a little stressed. And as you all know, when we commit to something, we don't miss it for the world. So it doesn't matter that moving houses today. I'm here. We're here.
Yeah, Scott's on a trip. We're making it happen.
Yeah,
It's happening now.
we're making it happen. Okay. Today is a really fun day because we are more than halfway through the week. And so for those of you, especially who've been actively participating with us all week, we take things and we go a layer deeper each day. If you haven't been able to join us all week or haven't been able to catch the replays yet, that's okay. It's not that one day is an actual prerequisite for the next. It's just that you will notice how you get to go layers deeper as you stack this work on top of each other. Today, we're going to be talking about, we often get asked this question, the way I'll frame it for you is, we have our collective, which is our free community. There's about 600 women in that community, and there's questions before you join the Facebook group. And it says, if you could have 15 minutes with Nicole and Kayla, what would you ask? And a pretty common question that we get asked is, how can you help me like get out of my head? That's the easiest way to frame it. How can you help me get out of my head? And our belief is that getting out of your head is not the solution. It's going into your head, observing what feels like big and scary and in the way. Let's talk about that. And yes, out of your head into your body. We're huge believers of somatic work, absolutely. And the only way that you can really get into your body is by allowing it, by having a story that says it's safe to be in my body, by putting on, say, for example, if you ever put on music and you feel quite stiff, and we've got Maylin, like queen of dancing here on the call, total opposite to how Maylin moves to music. But if you've ever noticed within yourself that like it feels really hard to move your body to music, it's because your body is holding on. It doesn't know how to let go and be loose. And so the only way to allow the body to let go and be loose and to be in that is to have a story, a new story running that's like, I get to let this go. I get to be safe in my body. And so it's not about getting out of your head. It's about going into your head and observing, what are the thoughts that I have that are really limiting me, that really hold me back, that really keep me stiff in my own body? So that's one of the things we're going to talk about today, getting out of your head. We also are going to do an NLP exercise. I love NLP. And we're also going to talk about, where are you sacrificing? Where are you making sacrifices and not in the honorable way? Where are you making sacrifices that we look at it and we observe it and say, wow, I've been really, for example, my husband and I were chatting before bed last night, and we're, me, I love to ask, like, what were you like when you were 6 years old going to bed? And so I'm like getting deep. And then
When we're having a sleepover, I'm like, okay, it's 1 o'clock in the morning, but I know we need to talk about what it was like when we were 5, but only 5 more minutes, okay? Okay.
I need to psychoanalyze everyone, including myself. So we're going to bed last night, and I said to Jeff, were you ever afraid as a kid? And he said, yeah, I can think of one time I was afraid. I had a bad dream. Did you ever have nightmares? And he said, yeah, I did once. And I said, what did you do? Did you like stay under your covers because you were too scared? Did you run to your parents' room? Did you cry? Like, how did you respond to having the nightmare? And he said, no, I didn't run to my mom and dad's room because my dad worked overnight and my mom worked until 11 every night. And so I knew she'd be too tired and I didn't want to wake her up. And I said, your mom worked until 11 every night. And he said, yeah. And I said, what time did she go to work? And he said, 3. And I said, so you got to see your mom at breakfast and then you went to school all day and you came home from school and your mom worked all day and then you both went to bed. So you really only got to see your mom in the morning. And he said, yeah, my parents sacrificed a lot for us to have a good life. And I thought, oh, that's so interesting because today we're talking about where you're sacrificing. And I said, if you could have it another way, would you have that sacrifice? Would you have had it that you could actually have spent more time with your mom? And he's like, yeah, I would have loved to have had more time with my parents. I'm like, oh, okay. So sometimes when we think about the sacrifices that we think we're making that are like, this is best for other people around me, is it actually though? It like if we're sacrificing time for, let's say, money, and we think that that's because we're setting our family up or ourselves up for something better, when really oftentimes what people want is time with you, memories with you, to see you role modeling that they can be, do have whatever you want. And so this conversation, Kayla and I want to have with all of you is, where do you feel currently like you are making a sacrifice, but it actually, like, you don't want to anymore? It doesn't feel worth it. So maybe for some of you, you have a 9 to 5 or a corporate role or a job, and you're like, I actually really don't like it. It does feel like a sacrifice right now.
Yeah.
Okay, Danica's waving her hand. Yeah, okay, we've been there. Kayla and I have both been there, done that.
Oh, yes, yes, yes.
Anywhere else that people feel like you're aware that there's some sacrificing happening in your life or your relationships, but it actually doesn't feel good? I know for myself, a lot of the times, and I mean, this has changed a lot in 2024, but it's not where I want it to be, if I'm being honest, is I sacrifice taking care of my health in the name of like other things. Like, oh, I've got more work to do. So instead of going to the gym, I'll just do more work. Or I've got to walk the dogs. Well, that's not a great example, because that is movement. I can think of how I'll make other excuses, make sacrifices for other areas of my life, when really the thing that I want to be working on is my health.
Mm-hmm.
Sacrificed my self-care. Ooh,
Yes,
yeah.
Janine.
Yeah.
But we're turning that around.
Sacrificing self-care while helping everyone else and working. I think a big one stems from when you're good at something, so you get stuck, even though it's not a line giving you joy.
Mhm.
Yeah. And, you know, Danica, this is such a great
Yeah.
convo, especially in a room full of women, because our belief is that we're all really good at lots of things. Of course we are. We're women. We can do it all. And because there is that, like, well, I can do it all, but do we have to do it all? Do we need to do it all? Like, just because we are good at something doesn't mean we have to take it on. Yeah, because then there's a sacrifice there of like, what if we're not good at building a business because we haven't tried yet and it's something new? And so then we create a story of, well, I'm not going to do it because I'm not good at it. But it's what we really want. We want to build a business. So we say, okay, I'm going to sacrifice the things I am good at in exchange for trying something new. How many of us, when's the last time anybody here can recall doing something new and the stickiness of it?
Oh, I'm doing something right now.
What?
Ads.
Oh, yeah. Kayla's learning how to be an ads expert. Okay.
And it feels new. I'm stopping the video. I'm going back. I'm rereading it. I'm thinking, I almost stopped myself yesterday because I thought, okay, when we have, I stopped the thought pattern, but I was like, when we have thousands of leads a day, what are we going to activate them on? And I'm like, Kayla, right now, we need to think about I don't know. We have thousands of quote unquote leads. So first of all, being grateful for that. Second of all, at this moment in time, I'm testing messaging with a $25 ad spend, $25 on 10 different messages. So
Mm.
it's like 250 a message. So I was freaking out yesterday and like stalling and procrastinating in my mind, cleaning up the kitchen. I mean, who can relate to that over and over again? And then I thought to myself, would I spend 25 bucks on something I really wanted? Yes.
Mm.
So I got to do it right now. I marched my ass downstairs.
Okay.
Ugh.
Trying that. It's new. What else? Let's see it in the
What
chat.
else?
What else?
Story time.
Where are people trying new things right now? And you can tell it's a little bit uncomfortable. Also a lot
The business.
recently.
Deep learning curve. Is that Allie? Allie? Or Allie? Allie Quinlan?
Hi, being visible online. Okay.
Oh, yes. Okay, it must be.
Working on discipline.
Really?
Mm. I'm working on I had a conversation with somebody who's here yesterday about the old ADHD brain as a woman. And I'm working on finding things that are my help me get focused if I don't want to go the traditional medical route. So what can I do to support my brain to not be all over the place?
Mm.
Yeah, exactly. ADHD brain. Yeah. So and it's new for me because the majority of my life I've been okay with functioning at like thought. Oh, forgot to do this. Where's that thing? I've been able to do that. And um, it's not working for me anymore. And so I really am actively trying to figure out new ways of channeling like organization and discipline in my brain. And it's hard. It's really hard, but I try not to get down on myself when I'm like, oh, I forgot my wallet again. I just try again tomorrow to leave the house with the wallet in my hand. All right. I love that everybody is participating here in the chat. Yes, Maylin, the new thing, hosting my
Yes.
own women's circle, silent disco, taking my biz seriously, then busying myself with the things I'm good at. Yes, yes, so good. Okay, now another important piece to today's conversation is, I wrote this down because I don't want to forget it. You know how much we love to talk about the conscious and unconscious mind, right? And how the unconscious, which can also be known as your subconscious, unconscious mind is what runs the program. And it is very impressionable and it takes everything as truth. And so the things that are in your way that are blocking you from making the business moves, making the money, finding the partner, doing the things, those are in the subconscious mind. And do you want to know the simplest way we know how? Because if it was conscious, you would have moved it already. If it was conscious, if you consciously knew this is my block, you would move the block, you would put the block down. If you consciously knew the things that were stopping you from your next big exciting vision, the next big business move, how to make the money that you want, how to be the magnet to your partner. If there was no subconscious block on that, then we would have it already. So the way to get into the subconscious mind is we have to go into our thoughts. And so again, this goes back to the how do I get out of my head? Well, we don't want you to get out of your head. We want you to be observing what's going on in your head. And lots of times, but all the time, the stories that we have running, and let's keep it around money and business for the sake of this conversation, are impressed as a generational thing. They're impressed on the subconscious mind because our subconscious mind is heavily impressed upon from being in the womb until we're 7 years old. And by no intentional fault of our parents, our grandparents, our teachers, our aunts, our uncles, we pray that nobody intentionally does things that limit us. It's what's been impressed on them. And if we think back to even like just a few generations back, like just a few, there have been world wars, the genocides. I mean, it's happening right now too. World wars, genocides, like really big, traumatic things for our ancestors that aren't that far back. Here in Canada, I mean, gosh, if we think about our Indigenous population and what has happened to our Indigenous population here in Canada. But up until very recently, and arguably still, then we think about, okay, if that something like that happened to your grandmother and she felt some sort of way, fear, not enough, scared, whatever, and then she became a mom and subconsciously nobody has helped her release these fears, then as a mom, that gets impressed again as how she mothers, as the glasses in how she sees the world. And then that daughter grows up and without any fault, not actual intention, that daughter grows up and also could, not always, but could carry fear of using her voice, fear of being herself, fear of whatever it might be. And it keeps going and going and going until we recognize it, until we say, oh, I have this subconscious fear or this block or this limitation, and I don't even feel like it's mine.
Mm.
Where did this come from? And we don't necessarily have to know where it came from. We have to be able to know, could I change this? Could I change my set of beliefs? And in order to change our set of beliefs, we've got to change our thought process. And in order to change our thoughts, we have to observe them. So we have to know, what is the like repetitive thing that's going on inside of your head that is the story that you hear about, let's say, money.
Mm.
So in the chat, let's see from everybody, what is something you know you absolutely heard more than once as a child about money? Doesn't have to be who you heard it from. Like mine for me is, I heard it so many times, we don't have that kind of money.
Mm.
That kind of money, as if it's a different kind and we don't have it, and therefore we're different. Okay. Yes, you have to work hard to earn it. It's really hard to make. Money doesn't grow on trees.
Mercy.
Don't spend too much.
Look at Julia's.
It was a family story. My grandfather was killed during World War II because he was rich. Ooh. Yeah, have to work
Your
hard.
brain's like, not safe, not safe, not safe, not safe.
Yeah, sacrifice for it, ancestral too.
Money does not grow on trees.
Okay. So if that is the lens of which little kid version of us have on, okay, so we're walking around and we all are just walking around with our perception of the world. So it's just totally our perception. And a great way to see like, wow, we have two different perspectives on the world is go spend an hour with somebody who lives a very like different lifestyle than you, and bring up some of the things that you value and care about and your perspective on those things, and then hear their perspective to realize we globally don't share perspectives. Right? We pick up perspectives, we put perspectives down, we borrow them from our parents, from friends, that sort of thing. So imagine little you was walking around and you subconsciously, again, it's a subconscious impression that all of these things that are in the chat is what you take on as to be true about money.
Yeah.
Well, it's a lot of work to change a belief. It's a lot of work to put it down, to say, what if this weren't true? And so how can we start to then shift the belief? Well, we have to want to. Do we want to believe that money, we don't have to work hard to earn it? Do we want to believe that you can spend as much as you want? Do you want to believe that you can be rich and nobody's going to come after you? Do you want to believe that you don't even have to look at the price tag? You can get what you want? We have to start there. Do we want to shift the belief? And if the answer is yes, then from there, it's going back to the beginning of the equation. Well, if I want to shift the belief, what are new thoughts I need to tell myself about money? Because what I think on repeat creates beliefs, and what I believe repeatedly is how I take action, and how I take action is then how I see the world reflected back to me. And it's a cycle like that.
And
So,
you can reinforce those thoughts on belief with proof, which we talked about on day 2, Italian day.
yeah.
Now, the whole Italian thing for everyone who was here, that was my sign. And it's all unfolding rapidly. Last night, my dad asked Evie if her teacher was Chinese because she's learning to speak Chinese from another teacher. And she got a new one. And Evie looks at him in the phone and says, "No, she's Italian." I'm like, she's not Italian, but she's just bringing up my sign. Proof, 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 proof.
Kayla's 3-year-old can speak Cantonese?
Yeah.
Yeah, Cantonese. It's very impressive. Money comes to mean increasing qualities. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, so here's the thing. To create a new belief, we've got to start some new thoughts. Yesterday, an Align CEO messaged me and she said, "Hey, Nicole, could you help me create some new thoughts, some new affirmations about money?" She said, "I really want to every day have some new beliefs and practices around money." And I said, "Okay." And I sent her a whole bunch. Kayla's phone was probably blowing up. I was like, "You could try this on."
I'm like, oh, somebody asked Nicole a mindset question. I see.
And I made them directed towards her and her business. And I said, "Now what I would love you to do is go add to these with your own, and then record yourself saying them with your voice memo app. And now start to listen to this every day so that your subconscious mind can hear yourself saying all of these beliefs about money and take them on as truth day after day after day." And so that's her new homework, her new exercise. A great one for everybody to try out. Okay, so we need to now start to want to shift the beliefs. Now, I want to tell you a story about perspectives. There is this book that Kayla and I read with the collective, our old community. Well, it's still there. It's not old, but years ago we used to do book clubs. And a book that we did was called Money Magic by Michelle Masters. And she is an NLP master practitioner. Fabulous, fabulous woman, fabulous book.
Yeah.
And she tells a couple stories in there about perspectives. And one of them is about how her and her friend, she hears her friend saying that she wants to go buy a new CD player. Like, this is how old the book is, CD player. And Michelle Master says, "There's nothing I love more than shopping for electronics." So I asked my friend, truly.
No, but when you say it like that, it's just so much conviction in your story. Not true. Okay, go ahead. Yes.
So she says to her friend, "I want to come with you. Can I come with you to shop electronics?" And her friend says, "Sure, okay." So they head out to Circuit City. That's where Michelle Masters wants to go. She's like, "I know they've got sales on at Circuit City." And her friend said, "Every time I go there, I have a bad experience." And Michelle Masters says, "Really? Every time I go, I have such a good experience. Soon as I walk in, the clientele, or they're so helpful and they greet me at the door and blah, blah, blah." And she said, "Okay, if that's your experience, like, let's go." And they walk in to Circuit City, and the friend is like, "See, look how long it's taking for somebody to come over." And Michelle doesn't see it that way. She sees that the person's just busy and so on and so forth. And so they leave. And her friend was like, "See, I just don't have a good experience when I'm there." And she was able to see in that moment 2 people walk through the same door of the same building, looking for the same thing together. But because we have different perspective glasses on and see the lens through a filter or through a screen, they had a totally different experience. So then Michelle Masters, a couple months later, needs to go buy another piece of electronic, and she wants to go by herself. And she almost hesitated to go back to Circuit City because she was like, "Well, what if I have a bad experience because my friend said this is what happens?" And she said, "No, I'm not going to take that on." And she walked in, and right away she was greeted at the door and she had a good experience. And it just goes to show how if we impress upon ourselves what we believe is going to happen before it happens, that becomes our perspective. So if you are driving to the job you already don't like, and you're like, "It's going to be another long, grueling day in the office," it will be another long, grueling day in the office. If you're building out a business and you're like, "This is hard, I can't figure out the tech, I'm not smart enough, this takes too long,"
Where are the people?
Where are the people? That will be your experience. There are other people side by side starting same day, going into the same style of business, building up the same type of audience, working with the same background, who are like, wow, this is happening. One person added me to Instagram today. There's proof. I'm creating an email list. I'm setting the time to do this. We can see it from coaching. We can see very different perspectives towards building a business. We have our own perspectives on so many things. Everybody has their perspective. I would love for everybody here on this call to think about a perspective you want to shift. Like maybe it's how you view business, how you view starting a business, how you view money. What is an area of your life where you're thinking, wow, I've really had my own set of glasses on here. I've been seeing this only one way, and I'm open to, or I would like to see it another way.
In the chat?
What's that?
In the chat?
Yeah.
Yeah. Where's somewhere you want to have a shift? I'm too old to make $1 million business happen on my terms with time, freedom.
Yes. Okay. So Julia, homework for you. Whatever your age is, go Google that age and people who've become millionaires at that age. Yeah. We want to put proof into our mind.
Mm-hmm.
What else are people looking for a perspective at?
Look at Martha.
Oh yeah, Martha. So true. Money and starting my business. Okay. And would we be able to, Malin, would you be able to put in the chat like the current perspective that feels limiting? Like it's not possible, there's not time, I don't know how. I can't build a business and save for property. I'm choosing, believe I can do both.
Yes, you can do both.
That was a huge
It will help
perspective.
you
Yeah.
save for the property.
That was a huge perspective shift for me too, EJ. And maybe you've heard me tell that story before, but I really had a belief on for years and years and years that I could only be the globe-trotting traveler that I wanted to be or buy a house. But if I bought a house, it would make me settle down and I wouldn't be able to travel the world. And if I traveled the world, then I would like never be grown up with a house. And it's just like two different perspectives. And what I wanted was to believe that both were possible. And obviously they are. And I have so much proof of people who own homes and travel the world. So it's so available.
Okay, can I say one more thing about the EJ thing?
Yeah.
When Nicole was thinking about being an Arbonne consultant, we already had My Line Purpose running. And she said, I'm really passionate about the products. I want a discount on protein. I love the mascara. Fizz, obsessed with it. What a fun thing to do. And I said, because I love money, I love all the possibilities of money. I love accumulating more money. I love giving more money away. I love investing. I love dividends. I'm obsessed, right? You know that. And I said to her, great, do Arbonne, set it up in a different account, and all the money you accumulate through Arbonne, let that be a practice of accumulation and do something with it after. And so in a way, if this is helpful, take it. And if it's not, then whatever, leave it. In a way, it could be like with your tapping, EJ, it could be like all the money I make from tapping is going here. And my business, doing the other things, is funding this other thing, but this is my special fund for XYZ. And then C, challenge yourself. How much can I get in my special fund for that in a month? Or what does that look like? How fun is it when people sign up and have these huge shifts with me? I saw your Instagram post about the woman, or the story about the woman who's having the huge shifts. They have these huge shifts. And you also have your own huge shifts that are facilitated by other people having huge shifts inside that account. Okay. Love it. That's all I want to say.
Okay.
Segment it if you want. Okay. Love a segment.
Okay. Love a segment. All right. I just want to offer quick homework. I saw money there. That's why I said that. Okay. So quick homework for people. Okay. So Kayla just touched on EJ. So Kenzie, hi, Kenzie. That Kenzie's perfect post-grad job is easy and effortless. And I'm the perfect candidate for the jobs I want. Well, you are a master manifester.
Yeah.
And you could start to look for proof of all of the people that you graduated with chat to them, hear about the jobs that they're getting, that sort of thing. That could be something
And
to
maybe
start.
you could tell us in the chat what job you want. So if anyone knows anyone, that can just start the flow of the energy.
Mm-hmm. Okay, money. There's never enough. Okay, so creating a new story for that. What is the opposite? And truly taking it on as a belief. Like, if there was never enough money, would you be here today? Would you be on this call? Would you be sitting in your car? Would you, like, if there wasn't enough, what does that mean? Like, does the world stop spinning? Do we suffer? Are we starving? Do we not have the vehicle? Do we not have the home? Or is there proof that there's actually always been enough and now you're open to more than enough? And with the business side, I don't know how to start or run it.
But is that true?
What are you looking for?
I'm looking for a reaction, but I'm getting a
See?
shrug.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, we had a call exactly how to start and run your business from you sitting in the car, and it was like this, but just the two of us. And people have watched that and thanked me directly for talking to you about how to start and run your business because they took the information and ran their business from it.
Is that in Align Business School? Mm. Okay, so Maylin, everything you need is in Align Business School. I encourage you to go back and start at the beginning again with fresh eyes, fresh perspective of like, okay, I really want this now.
And
Before
saying,
maybe you wanted it, but now we know you really want it and you're doing your first event.
yeah, and saying like, I'm gonna figure out how could be your bridge statement. I am figuring out how because it's going to be the business you want on your terms with your time spent. So you're going to figure out exactly how you want to run it. People, I can tell you, other people can tell you, but you're going to figure out what works for you and what doesn't by doing it.
With Christie's, well, I think Kayla is a great example of this, and maybe Kayla can gather some accounts and people, because I know you follow moms that are present but are also very successful business owners, and you could share those with Christy. Okay. Danica had to go off to supervision. I do not miss that. Nope. Warren Buffett made 99% of his wealth after his 50s. Yes.
Oh, I heard yesterday, what was I listening to? Mel Abraham has a new book about managing money, and he has been on a bunch of podcasts, and I was listening to some interviews. He says the same thing over and over again. And he said, 8 out of 10 millionaires are self-made. Look at that statistic. Love that statistic. And of the 8 out of 10 stat, like the 100% of those people, 30% of them had never made more than $100,000 a year. And that opens up a whole other possibility. Anyway, okay.
Yeah, it's true. Okay, that I won't be able to replace my corporate income by starting my own business.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Well, there's, I mean, lots and lots of proof that most business owners surpass their corporate income. And that's why most people then want to transition into being an entrepreneur because there's no cap. There's no asking for the pay raise or the bonus. It's if you know how to do that for somebody else,
somebody is
do
already,
you not trust that you know how to do it for you?
yeah, somebody is already paying you hours for dollars to do that thing at that level. That's proof in itself that you can do that thing or something's different for hours for dollars. And then we talk about then scaling that, which is just instead of one-to-one, doing it in a group situation so that you have more time freedom. Yeah. That part's the math equation, but I hear the limiting beliefs here. Okay.
Okay, so Kenzie wants to be a social worker with Alberta Health Services. Okay, so people keep that in mind if you know any connections. Janet is shifting into the belief that I get to have what I want, big things, small things. The story is that I don't, so I'm working on that. Okay, need to run for a meeting, switching the thought pattern of thinking needs to be perfect to move forward. Perfect just doesn't exist. We get to just put that down and remember, like, who do you know that is perfect?
I had a whole year about it. I had a wabi-sabi necklace the whole year.
Yeah, it's like, it just doesn't exist. Nobody on here is claiming to be perfect. Nobody is perfect. So why would you have to be the outlier that like has to be perfect? It just does not exist. So we get to put that down. Oh, thank you, Sheena. Oh, she had to go. Okay, now There is a way to start to think about the solution to all of your problems here, if we call these problems, if we call these limiting beliefs. And there, don't quote me if this is a Bible verse, because I don't know that it is exactly, but I heard it from my friend Neville Goddard, he's passed away about 100 years ago. But Neville Goddard, quotes the Bible in many iterations. And there is a story, and I'm not saying it word for word, so just bear with me here. But he talks about the lion's den. And if people know the Bible, then maybe you know what I'm talking about. New story to me, though. So he talks about the lion's den and how if you were to enter a den full of lions, and for 99% of the population, that would be scary. We'd have fears that would come up if you felt like you were enclosed in a room with lions. And that type of fear, it isn't any different than other fears we have. A fear is a fear is a fear. It elicits a feeling of I'm not safe, I should be worried, what am I going to do? But those who overcome their fears do so by realizing this is a fear, and what I'm afraid of is, and it's the opposite to what it is that you want. So if you're in the lion's den and the fear is all the lions are going to eat you, you know the solution would be to be out of the lion's den. That is the solution to that problem. Like plain and simple, just not be in the lion's den. We don't know the how yet, right? But if you're looking at any of your fears, I don't know how to be good with money. I don't know how to start the business. Okay, so what you know you actually want is to be good with money. What we know that you actually want is to be able to start a business.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is that what we focus on expands, and everybody's staring at the fucking lions in the den being like, I don't know how to get out. When if you focused on getting out, focused on the freedom, focused on what's on the other side, instead of focusing on, I don't know how to be good with money, focus on the opposite to that. Focus on, how can I be good with money? So that every time you tailspin into the limiting beliefs, the fears, what you actually, every time you have a fear, it's such a good indicator that you actually know what you want. Because if this thing feels scary and fearful, it's actually showing you if you don't want that, then you know you want the opposite feeling. You might not know the opposite material thing, the people, place, the experiences or thing, but if the opposite to fear for you is freedom, then okay, focus on freedom. Focus on the thing that is going to move you forward instead of stalling where we're at. And so then, of course, yes, we can get into fight, flight, freeze, fawn, all these sorts of things of like what happens when our body actually freezes. And when we can remember that the mind is the most powerful piece to all of this, go back into the mind and ask ourselves in that moment, okay, if I was in a den full of lions, what would I need to do right now? What thought process do I need to take on to figure out the solution to get out of here? Instead of like looking at the lions straight on, riddled with fear, and then being taken over. And so, again, very my version of the lion den story. So bear with. But the whole point is that the subconscious mind is so powerful, and it continues to focus on every time you have that little thought of, I'm not good at this, it's too hard, I tried it before, it didn't work, I'm self-sabotaging, I'm not good enough. Every time you focus on that, you give it attention. Cut it off there. Like our awareness is our superpower. Become aware that you're focusing on something that's not actually going to move you forward. So instead of like, this is hard and stalling in the this is hard, well, what would make it easy? And so now we're going to get into the NLP exercise. So the NLP exercise is anchoring. And a lot of you have done this before, you know it. We have some anchoring exercises in Align Business School, in Align CEO Method, in the money courses that we do. Anchoring can be done so many different ways, but we're going to teach a method of anchoring right now where you can do it anywhere. It doesn't involve anyone else. It doesn't involve anything else. It's just you and your human body that's here. So what I would love for everybody to do is I want you to think of something that you're desiring right now, like in regards to money or business. And I first want you to start to think of it from the lens of, wouldn't it be fun if? So there's no resistance, right? Like, wouldn't it be fun if I started my business and gosh, made 6 figures in the next 6 months? Wouldn't that be fun? Wouldn't it be fun if I got to replace my corporate job and pay my mortgage off? Like, if the fear is I don't know how to make my mortgage payments, like, wouldn't it be fun if I just got to pay off my mortgage? Wouldn't it be fun if I met the love of my life this week? Wouldn't it be fun if? So let's go to that. Wouldn't it be fun if? So if you're comfortable too and you want to close your eyes and just take a moment, subconsciously, you'll probably notice the first thing that comes up for you. Wouldn't it be fun if? Allow yourself to have a few deep breaths, like really breathe that in. When we're working with the wouldn't it be fun if energy, there's not resistance. There's not a timeline. There's not a checklist. It's just a wouldn't it be fun if. Okay, so we've got that. Open our eyes. Now, with the thing that you are desiring to call into your life, we're going to just like put that on hold or move it over to the side for a second. And I want you to recall an experience that you've had ever in your lifetime that was like really joyful or brought you a lot of love or felt really fun, like, is completely the opposite to like resistance or fear. So think of a moment in time. It could be a family vacation. It could be a special memory you have with somebody, the first time you fell in love, like whatever it is, something that feels like, oh, I can remember exactly where I was at, who I was with, what I was doing, and transport yourself to that time. So we're getting into the NLP exercise. Again, if you're able to close your eyes so you can remove external stimulation, allow yourself to go in and really start to find that memory that you want to choose for this exercise. So a moment in time where everything just felt fun and easy and your body can recall the memory. What we're looking for here is the feeling, like remembering how you felt. And until I want you to use a few breaths and really start to get that feeling in your body right now, as if you were right there reliving it all over again. Okay, now with your eyes closed, you're going to take your thumb and your index finger of either hand, it doesn't matter. We do know that our left side of our body is our feminine energy. The right side of our body is our masculine energy. I don't know if that feels more applicable to any of you, if you want to work with a certain energetic side of the body. But at the end of the day, we're working with locking in a memory. So you're taking your index finger and your thumb, and I want you to squeeze really tight, lock in that memory of where you were at, what you were doing, who you were with that brought you so much joy. Okay, and then you can separate your finger and your thumb, keep your eyes closed. Remember that you're in whatever room you're in right now, or car, or wherever you're at, and then come back, finger and thumb together, go back into that memory again. Like you're going into a time machine and like, oh, here I am again. Okay, and then open again, and then close again. One last time. Okay, now open your eyes. Before we go to the next part of the exercise, I'm curious if anybody wants to share, like how old were you, where you were at, what's the memory, what came up for you?
I was thinking of a couple of times ago that I was visiting my family in Ottawa. My Aunt Mary is hilarious. We cannot stop laughing when we're together. And she was doing headstands in her front hallway, and then she fell over backwards, and then I was laughing about that. We were laughing so hard. Okay.
So uncontrollable joy. Okay.
Yeah.
My memory that came up for me was at my wedding. My dad is not my biological dad, but he's my dad, and he's been in my life literally since I was born. And I had no idea my dad was going to whip out this speech. We never talk about my dad not being my biological dad. And my dad had said a speech that had everybody in tears. It was like the most loving, beautiful thing that anybody has ever said about me in my whole entire life. And I just felt so loved.
I'm crying right now.
Kayla was there. She was
I
sobbing the whole time.
Everyone's like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Oh my God, I love you, Billy."
So
I'm so good. Okay.
I'm brought back
I'm
to
there
that.
too.
Yeah, brought back to that moment in time of like, wow, like so much love.
Yeah.
Okay, so I see Janice says I was in my early 20s and an all-inclusive resort for a family wedding, particularly the bus ride in from the airport. Oh yeah, so then they start loading up the drinks and everybody's getting wild and the sun shines out and you're just about to have so much fun. Okay, I love that. Now, what we know to be true is that the body can access past memories as if they are true in this moment in time, right? That we can access, okay, was that 20 years ago? Was that 2 days ago? Is that now? The body doesn't know any different. The subconscious mind doesn't know any different, which then leads it to be believed and to be true that we can take future memories, visions, and make them be impressed on the subconscious mind right now. So if we can do that and tap into a future vision and feel the feelings now, that's also how we turn up our magnetism. And so we choose a feeling state of our desire manifested. So if having your own business sets you up to feel a certain way, or you're creating however much money a month in your life, and that helps you and your family and it allows you to feel a certain way, we're always, always, always going after a feeling state. That's always what it is. It's not the boat or the house or the car or the kids or whatever. It's the feeling state of that desire manifested. So what you can do is, again, you can close your eyes, you can take your index finger and your thumb, and you can lock in that memory. Okay, so you lock in that past memory, the feeling states in the body, and then all now you're going to do is switch fingers. So now middle finger and thumb, and I want you to start to impress the future vision, where you're at, who you're with, what you're doing. Are you laughing? Are you crying? Are you in love? If you were to watch a movie of this future version of you manifested in real life, the thing you're working towards that you felt like there's been a limiting belief or a block, imagine those blocks are gone and it is how you live now. I want you to see that and lock it in until you feel it in your body. And really press down your finger, middle finger, and your thumb. And then you can separate your finger and your thumb. Realize where you're at in this time and space, again, because you can be anywhere. You can be riding in the back of an Uber. You can be walking to the park, and then press your finger and your thumb together. Go back to the future vision. Breathe it in. Allow yourself to access it. If you're having a really hard time accessing the feeling state of the future vision, then go back to the original version, the one that you know you can actually see and feel. Hold that as long as you can. Try and hold that feeling. Switch fingers. Go into the future vision with the feeling in your body. It's like a giddy, excited, this is possible. I love this. This is my life. I get to design it. And then open thumb and finger up again. Remember where you are, real time and space in this present moment. And then one last time, locking it together, press really tight. And then open up your eyes and come back together. Okay. Now, like anything that's worth having or doing or experiencing, it takes practice. And so the homework is, as often as you can today and tomorrow and over the weekend, it doesn't take long. I want you to toggle between the past vision and the future vision and lock it in. And I want you to try it at different places and spaces throughout the day. So maybe it's like right before you go to bed. Maybe it's on your drive picking up the kids from school. Maybe it's as soon as you see your partner and you give them a kiss, you can like wrap your arms around them and it's they're like, what are you doing? Little lobster claws. So it's like bringing your thumb and your finger together. Now, what this is doing neurologically is it's creating the imprint in the mind, right? And so it's like anything else. If we have a big snowy driveway and we shovel the snow out to the car and we do that once, it's, not going to be a super clear path. We have to shovel, 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 get all the snow. We have to repeatedly do that. And then after you do that for a few days, if you say, well, I'm now going to walk a new path out to the car, it's going to be harder because now you have to trudge through all the snow when you could have just walked through the path that you actively cleared. We have to choose to actively go into the vision over and over and over again and make it easier for ourselves and our body and the neural pathways in our brain to see that vision as true in our mind so our body can feel it as real in present time. And remember that you don't actually have to wait for a certain experience, a person, place, an experience, or a thing. You don't have to wait for your business to be generating 6 figures. You don't have to wait to meet the love of your life to feel the feelings that you imagine those future experiences are going to bring you. The way that you're going to magnetize those future experiences to you faster with more ease is by feeling the feelings first. You can do that with an anchor. And it's really fun because it's a reminder of, it's kind of like if anybody has ever practiced meditation with mala beads, the whole intention with mala beads, or like in Christianity with a rosary, it's the beads that go around with mala beads. There's 108 beads. And the intention is that you can be on a busy bus in India where there's hundreds of thousands of people, and we could make the excuse of it's too busy, it's too noisy, there's too much stimulation to meditate, to take your finger and your thumb and move around each bead with a mantra and allow yourself to get into the motion, to get into the visualization, to get into the affirmation and do that. And so with mala beads or without mala beads, having the like click, 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 locking it in over and over and over again. Okay, now we've got a whole bunch of fingers. So maybe you're like, I want to lock into this vision over here, and I want to lock in, this is my money finger, and this is my love finger, and this is my business finger. Like, have fun, create new anchors for yourself. Anchoring in NLP is a tool that it's used to bring us back to right here, right now, consciously, because we can consciously change the unconscious mind. And the unconscious mind is the only thing that is holding you back from what you want, because there's some sort of weird program that is running that we don't necessarily know what it is until we get in there and remove it. So we can get in there and remove it by consciously stopping and saying, how am I feeling right now? Not the desired feeling state, anchor. Okay, that's really a wrap on today.
Yeah, so the homework is anchor and being present to the perspectives that you want to shift.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the more that we do this work, the easier it gets, the more things come up, the more we have to come back to the work. And this is the thing. This is what we're doing to unlock next and next and next levels as you grow personally and in business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so just remembering too that what we talked about at the beginning is that the things that are in your way, like perceivably are in your way, they are there unconsciously, because if they were consciously there, you would move them. And so if you're feeling like, why can't I hit this goal, or why can't I do this thing? We can find a way. Maybe it's like who, not how, or maybe it's a system instead of you, or maybe it's like asking for help in a different way, or putting on a new set of perspective glasses. But also remembering that if it is an unconscious program, then how are you going to start to tap into your unconscious/subconscious mind? Well, it's with your awareness. So it's actively taking stock of thoughts and feelings more often than we have been. Thoughts and feelings, thoughts and feelings.
Yeah. Okay, tomorrow is final day of Frequency of Wealth. Very exciting. We are going to have lots of fun tomorrow. I'll be sending out the replay email with your thing to post in your stories. Now, if you would like to be entered in the draw to win a ticket to our next VIP day, then we will announce when that is and all the details and everything. But we're going to be doing spinning wheel on Monday, and we can either do it live on Instagram or do it in the collective. And I think you have a pretty good chance of winning.
Yeah, there's not been many people who've been actively sharing Monday to Friday shares.
Yeah, so share on your stories, tag us so we see it, and just fill in the thing that we asked. Yesterday there was no fill in. I just thought that picture was really beautiful with the peonies, the coffee, and the laptop. And I thought, ooh, this is exactly what we're talking about. So I'm going to put that in. And so just sharing, I completed day 1, I completed day 2, I completed day 3, then we know. And then yeah, and then we'll add you into the draw.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day. Thanks for being here with us. If you want to reach out and share what your anchor is, I love to hear. If you want support on wording your anchor so that it feels aligned and feels true for you, if you're working with a bridge statement or something. Again, a bridge statement is like if you're saying to yourself, like,
I love money.
I'm a multimillionaire CEO boss, and you're like, but that doesn't feel true, then your bridge statement is, I'm loving working towards being a multimillionaire CEO boss. I'm loving working towards. If it doesn't, if you feel like that feels so not true, I can't take that on as a belief, then have a bridge to it.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, everybody.
See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow from my new home.
Oh, yeah. Very exciting. Okay.
Bye.